I'm James Eldon.
And I'm Abby Relic.
And this is
Most Compatible.
Still goofy.
We need the question mark.
Which we established that we did. It was originally part of the concept, right?
Yes, we originally we came up with the title because I think it's on Hinge, the Hinge app. When they match you, it shows up on some of your matches most compatible. And for me, all those guys, I was like, I don't know.
I mean, what are they basing it on, though? Is it just the fact that you guys have similar? Not you guys. I mean, like we have similar tastes, and that makes us the most compatible.
Maybe. I think with Hinge specifically, they have what's called prompts, which I still don't quite understand, but it's little sections that, like, if we had similar sections or said similar word, I have no idea. That would be a good question.
Well, I think with Hinge, it's like, okay, this is my hobby's running. I run. It's like, oh, and all right, how many marathons have you run? So it's prompts.
And I do yoga, so we're compatible.
So then I would say, what's your favorite yoga pose?
And I'd say Shavasana, the one where you lay on your back and don't do anything.
What is that, corpse pose?
I don't know. The one where you don't have to do anything. That's my favorite yoga pose.
Oh, at least you didn't say something dirty and say something like downward dog. Or,
downward dog, yeah, but that one sucks.
Only if you're in it for like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts everybody.
So we decided that we were going to talk about ghosting.
Yes, this episode is on ghosting.
So.
Should we say that we're going to hold for sound?
No, because of the plane? Yeah. No, hopefully.
Okay, never mind.
Hopefully it does not appear or show up in this video. But hey, that's what it's about, being close to Burbank Airport. We're going to be holding all night otherwise.
It's 2023, you never know. Never know.
And we don't need to edit out. There's a helicopter now or something. Just one thing and another.
Perfect.
Cue the neighbor's dog barking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is it a helicopter or another plane? Anyways, let's talk about ghosting.
Yep.
I wish these planes would ghost. Is it okay? I mean, do you hate it? Do you like it? How many times? What's your ghosting experience?
So I have, it depends. I have no problem ghosting people in the chats, people that I haven't met in person. I don't mind being ghosted by people in the chats. I don't know them. They don't know me anything. That's how I view ghosting. So anybody that I met in person, if they ghost me, to me, that tells me something about them. So I'm like, thanks for showing me who you are really fast. Yeah, that's my basic outlook on it. What do you?
Well, I think maybe it's ghosting. I mean, that's about as ghosting as I've gotten. Well, I don't know. You have an opinion about this, and we'll get into that aspect later about another thing that could be considered ghosting. But I think mine's it's not intentional. It's just that sometimes you have multiple conversations going, and then it's just like it might take a little bit for me to get back to that conversation. And I feel like if I've had a certain amount of time that's passed, I feel like it's a little too late to just jump back in. Or I've gotten a conversation going with somebody else, and then
I
don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's the other thing.
I don't really care about that part, but
you don't care about hurting people's feelings?
No, not on the apps.
Rejection's rejection. It hurts no matter what, right?
I know, but everyone deals with it, so I deal with it too. So you have to do what you got to do.
So I've never ghosted in person. At least not shown up. Not shown up. Yeah, not shown up. I haven't done that.
Yeah, like not shown up for the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Me neither. I've never done that, and I've never had that done to me either. I've never had the other person not show up. Oh, except
Yes, because you said there was a. Is this the Dodger story?
Oh yeah, so this was the big ghost. But again, it didn't really. Whatever, we'll get into that. It didn't like hurt me. It didn't feel like rejection. It was just confusing. Basically, I met this guy and we hit it off, and he invited me to a Dodger game, and I called off work for it. So I was like, because I had met him. I was like, cool, we're gonna go to the Dodger game, and then. The day of the Dodger game, I was like, hey, what time you want to meet up? And he just never responded. So that's like, yeah, I guess that's being stood up, but that's like a big ghost. That was the major one that was done to me. I've never done something like that to somebody, but I have bailed on people, but that's.
Did you reach out or did just like, after there was no response, did you say, hey, look, are we still on? Or what's going on?
No, I just I think he had texted me like the weekend before too, and I didn't get a response. So this was like, hey, what time you want to meet? And he never responded, and I gave him like till a certain time. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, he's got till 2:00. And then at 1:30, I was like, fuck you. I'm going anyways. I did.
You still went?
I still went.
Did you go by yourself?
No, I went with a friend.
Had you already bought the tickets?
So he had bought the tickets. So he had both tickets. He'd sent me pictures of the tickets. And so he was there, and my friend was like...
Wait, no, like, okay, hang on, because you didn't tell me this part of the story. Hang on here. So he bought the tickets. He sent you pictures. You didn't use those tickets to get in, but you still went.
I still went, because I had called off work for the Dodger game.
So did you go because you called off work for the Dodger game, or did you go because you wanted to see that sorry Saka and see if he showed up?
So it would seem like I wanted to go to the Dodger game. So I'm a big baseball fan, and I was looking forward to it, and I was pissed that I had called off work for somebody that I don't really know that well. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to go to the Dodger game. And I had a friend who wanted to go with me, and she was like, yeah, just let me know. If he like gets back to you by 2, great. If not, and at 1:30 I texted her and I was like, you still down? So we went. And she was like, you should take a picture in front of like the, like something so that he knows that you're there. And I was like, nah. Because I didn't really care at that point. I was just shocked at this one, but I didn't care.
Okay, but still, all right, so hang on. So you go. Did you look at his seats to see if he was...
I didn't know where he was sitting. Oh, I guess I could.
Well, you did because you looked... Okay, so you didn't bother to look and see.
I did not care. I did not care. Because at that point, I was like, okay, this is my view. If this person is okay doing that to me, I want nothing to do with them. Because we like met and we kind of hit it off, and then he knew I called off work for the Dodger game. I was like, I'll get my class covered. Like, he knew. So if he was okay with ghosting, I don't care if I see him, but I don't want anything to do with that person.
100%. But that's not the question that I really want to know is, did he go with somebody else?
Maybe.
Was he there, and did he go with somebody else? That's what I really want to know.
Possibly. And one of my other friends was like, usually she's like, I feel like maybe he was like, what do they call that when you like make it final? When you're official. She was like, maybe he made it official with somebody else that he's been seeing for a while. I was like, I don't know. I don't care. Moving on. I'm not calling off work for any more dates again. I'm not doing that. That was like one of my rules.
What, as I bang stuff around, what is your favorite? Not your favorite. You don't have a favorite ghosting story.
Some people do.
What's your ghosting story? Leave a comment down below or send an email, mostcompatiblepodcast@gmail.com. But so
Yeah, what's...
I'm not a ghoster.
Yeah, I know.
I suppose that, conversations I let drop off. I'm not usually even that. Usually the radio silence falls on the other person with me. They just don't respond.
Oh, so usually you get the reverse of that, where it's what I guess if you call it ghosting in the chats, but you get ghosted in the chats.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been flaked on as far as like
Yeah.
meeting up or anything like that. I've gotten the weird out of a conversation. You know, I
Weird
think,
out.
So I think we've talked about like I'm big on let's meet, let's get it done and over with.
Right.
Let's hurry up and
Right.
just get to this point where we're, you know, meeting in person, because I don't want to have this back and forth. With
Right.
It may not even be good banter, because usually it's just like, oh, how was your weekend? Don't ask me about my weekend.
Don't ask me about my weekend.
So we'll.
That's another episode.
That is another episode. That was actually in somebody's bio. Somebody's bio about like, don't ask me about my weekend, because apparently that's the common thing in the chat. Of course, you want to know about somebody's weekend because it's a good conversation starter. But you know,
And I wrote it down in big letters in my notebook. Anyways,
it was
continue.
the possible title of this podcast, but most compatible seemed more appropriate.
Yes.
So the conversations. Where was I even going with this?
So what's like the weirdest?
Oh, so we'll be in the conversation. So if we get to the point where like we haven't met up yet, but like we're going to go with the phone call.
right.
Oh, let's have a phone
right,
call.
Right,
Let's
right.
have a phone call. That's fine. So I've had it once or maybe twice where it's just like we're in a conversation. It's like, oh, hang on, my mom's calling. Oh, hey, I gotta go. I'll call you back. Let me take this phone call with my mom, and then I'll call you back.
Oh, okay.
And
Hey, I have a
then-
family emergency. I gotta go.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
like that feeling.
And so that's kind of about as ghosted as I've gotten in that regard. And I mean, that's a form of ghosting, I suppose. I mean, give it a little more time. Like, let the banter occur.
Yeah.
Or try to, you know.
Yeah. So that's like you've never had like a weird thing. Okay, so that's like the most you've gotten on the phone. You've never had a weird thing like after you met in person, like anyone ghost you?
So, and this goes back to our conversation that we were talking about. Like, this is the form of, it could be considered a form of ghosting. And that was, like, I knew there wasn't anything going to happen after this. It was like, there's no interest, there's no spark, there's no chemistry. And therefore, I have had no reason to reach back out.
To reach back out. It's kind of mutual that it's not happening.
I don't know, because I don't know if it's mutual or not. Neither one of us reached back out.
No.
So does that make it mutual, or is, you know, was she just like, well, I'll wait and see if he reaches out, and if he doesn't, then, you know, but I'm not making an effort either. So I don't know.
I mean, I would always assume that's somewhat mutual, but you never know. I don't know. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. So,
So is it okay? And if it is okay, when is it okay?
so I think it is totally okay. I think it's okay in the chats, 100% to ghost. For me, usually it was like I either got busy with life, like work, or I already was like dating other people that I was more interested in. And I don't know, it's a lot in the chats too to keep up with, whether you're male or female. I think it's a lot. So in the chats, I'm good with ghosting. The other part is if they like, ghosting is also a form of protection. So like, yeah, there was one person that I just got this sense that he was, I don't want to put any labels on him, but I did not feel safe. I would not feel safe with this person. So, it was a man. And so I think I gave him my number, and then he wanted to FaceTime one night. So I was like, okay, sure. We FaceTime, and I was like, this is not good. And then,
Well, no, you you can't just go, this is not good. There's a story behind this, and there's details. So let's
go into those.
Unpack
okay,
this.
so we're FaceTiming. I'm like drinking wine. I'm like, yeah, this is fine, whatever. So he kept talking shit on his ex-girlfriend, and a couple times it was like you could see in his face this like surge of anger. And those were the two big markers for me, but I was kind of glad I FaceTimed him, because I could see like how like it was like he was seeing red, and we were talking about either his ex-girlfriend or stuff that other women had done to him. So
was this a recent, had it been a recent breakup? Do you know?
I think at the time it was a recent breakup for him.
So it was still pretty fresh, and so he's kind of still
like, and then I think, like, I was like, I'm gonna have to tell this guy, but I didn't want to ghost him. I was like, I'm gonna have to tell this guy it's not gonna happen, but I kind of wait sometimes for them to reach out, because I also think it's weird to without the man asking for me to just be like, hey, by the way, I don't like you. Like, I wait for them to ask me out, and then I'm like, hey, by the way, I'm not feeling this. So, but he didn't text me. He FaceTimed me, and I didn't pick up, and he FaceTimed me. He, like, machine gun FaceTimed me, like, 3 times in a row, and I was like, I definitely don't do that. So.
Don't do that, gentlemen.
Don't machine gun call, FaceTime. Only machine gun text if you're, like, close to them.
Or dying.
Or dying? Is that what you said?
Yes. Maybe you're the only number on their phone.
No, that is not. You can do a butt dial machine. I've gotten that because my name's AB. So the only person that beats me is Aaron. AA. Or a number.
So FaceTimed you 3 times. Machine gun FaceTimed you 3 times.
Yes.
And then what?
So I should have just ghosted, but I was also it was an interesting spot where I was like, I've never done this, so I'm going to try just telling this guy that I don't feel safe with him. And I said, dude, I'm not interested. You seem a little controlling. And he did not take that well. And he, like, backpedaled and was like, I just wanted to be friends. And I was like, well, that's what you said. But then you machine gun FaceTime me, so good luck. And then he replied with something else, and I never responded to that because I was like, that's why I don't
was
like.
Was that aggressive?
It just felt, I don't like calling people that I don't know, really. I don't like calling them out on their shit. If I don't know them, that's yours to take care of. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So it's cool, though, because that was my one test of trying to tell someone the reason, and it did not go well. And so that's also why I ghost, because I'm like, you should get the message. If I just stop responding, that's the message. Also, if you're crazy and I stop responding, I'm going to see that really fast. You're going to come at me like hard. That's the other piece of that. But so you've never ghosted somebody that you felt like was a little like cuckoo or too much for you, or wasn't going to work?
The only, and I didn't do the ghosting. She did it because there was a woman. There was a woman who we'd finally, like, I had texted. We got to a texting position. I think it was like, hey, let's have a talk, and so we had exchanged numbers. I think it was like, hey, it's James, and I don't think I got a response back, and then I think I did the whole hope you had a good weekend kind of thing.
Yeah.
Didn't get a response, and then no, I take that back. I take it back. She reached out to me first because I didn't know who it was, and she didn't tell me who it was. She wanted to play the game. So we did. We played along, and finally, like, we set up a time, like 8:00 on a Wednesday night or something like that. It worked for both of us, and we had an hour-long conversation, but she had done all this research on me, or had looked into some, this was on Facebook dating. And if you're not familiar with Facebook dating, you can kind of see mutual friends, so you can kind of determine who this person might be, so you can look into more of their lives. And I don't think I have a private account. I think it's pretty public, so anybody can,
But you got you had her number, but you didn't know who it was.
Exactly.
But you had an idea of who it was.
Kind of. Actually, it kind of got to that point, like, okay, who can this possibly be?
Oh, okay.
And, we had an hour-long conversation, and she's asking these questions. She's playing this weird kind of teenage kind of game And I'm like, that's fine. I'll play the game. I don't mind. This is entertaining. We go back and forth, and she will never tell me who it is. And I determined it, wound up determining who it was, but she didn't admit to it. And I think it said, oh, this is Rachel. Now, who's Rachel, or something to that extent.
Yeah.
And then she had a dog that was like yiping the back, but it sounded like a kid.
Oh.
And like I had looked on her page and like, oh, it's, say hi to Barky or whatever the dog's name is or something like that. Who's Barky? I'm like, your dog. And she's like, I never told you that. And then all of a sudden, like on her Facebook profile or her Facebook, like all of a sudden I can't find her anymore. She's blocked me.
Right.
And
of
I'm
course.
Like, yeah. And so I'm like, what, so you block me now? It's like, well, she called me a stalker. I'm like, how are you going to tell?
Because you solved the mystery.
Exactly. And I'm like, okay, so you can sleuth around and determine who I am, but when I figure out, well, I'm in, you're into that and I'm not, so. And then it was like, go watch the television shows I told you to watch. It was just really just bizarre.
Oh my God.
And so I don't think maybe that's a form of ghosting. I mean, I didn't ghost her. I mean, that may be a form of ghosting for her. So I guess the thing is that I've determined is that in my past, having, produced theater and whatnot, I produced with my ex. When we were together, we produced together. And so it was a good combination because what we could do is we could come home and decompress together. If she was rehearsing a certain, piece and I was rehearsing another piece, we could come together and, decompress and say, this is how it was, this is how it went. This particular actor we're, working with the same cast, but in different pieces.
Right.
And we might, talk about the stories and things like that. So when we separated, I still continued to do theater and still produce. But what was lacking is I didn't have that person to come back and decompress with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I found that during those shows when it was busy, that's when I started swiping. I'd start swiping, matching.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
Because there was a sense of loneliness because I didn't have that other person to bounce anything off of, And so it's the worst time to swipe because I'm in the middle of rehearsals. I have no time. I'm rehearsing 3 or 4 days a week.
But you get home and you're like, I need to talk to somebody.
Kind of, or at least make myself feel better about myself. Because I'm a mess. I'm busy. I'm overwhelmed, and I need something to make me feel good about myself.
That's the validation thing they talk about too.
100%.
And it's not always bad. It's just natural.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So I'm swiping, left a lot. That's what I do.
Wait, left is a good one. I haven't done that in so long.
You haven't swiped left in so long?
It's been a while.
I will swipe left more than I swipe right.
Wait, left is no, right?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
You okay? Sorry, I totally got confused there. I thought you were yesing all of them. Never mind.
No, and we'll get into that in a second because I don't do that. And I'm interested to hear a little bit of your take on this. So, okay. So I'd match but I wouldn't be able to have these conversations. I was too busy and it's like, then once things settle down.
Right. Typically they had moved on or not responsive.
Not even that. At that point, it's just that it's over. The stress is done. I don't need that validation.
On your end, you are done. Yeah. I mean, that's a
form of ghosting.
I guess. I also think it's an app, right? So honestly, when I'm on it, I do not take anything that seriously. So if somebody takes that seriously, that's I would look at that as an issue, but it's people get frustrated with it, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe that could be a form of ghosting.
I mean, if you've got 8 different conversations going on, one person dropping off is not going to be
Right. Oh, so you would have one, but you don't know what's on their end.
No, 100%.
Right. So you would be talking to one person, then all of a sudden you would just, I see. Yeah, that would feel like ghosting.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah. I understand.
So that might be the extent of ghosting because at that point it's like, now that I'm through all of this, I don't necessarily know if I need to jump into anything
Right.
at the moment, you know.
But they might be they might have moved on.
Well, probably 100%, you know.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, you know. So, see, I thought this was only a guy thing. I thought the guys were the ones that only swiped right on everything. I've heard that guys do that, and you know, just whatever lands,
I've heard that
swipe
too.
right on everything, and whatever lands, I'll just, you know.
I've heard that too. So, and that's why I think on some of the apps they put limits on how many likes you can send, right, or how many right swipes you can send.
Yeah, and they reset it. They're like, you've liked
day.
too many people. You got to wait another 24 hours.
Yes. No, I mean, I would swipe. I would say it was like 50-50. I would swipe right and left. I didn't just go in and swipe right on every single person. But at the beginning, I did swipe right, which is a yes on more people than not, because I was exploring. Like I was like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. Yeah, I don't know. I think most of my friends that are female are fairly selective with who they swipe right on. But most of them are looking for a relationship.
Do you ever, I know I've done it a zillion times where I've accidentally swiped right, or I've hit some button like the super swipe by mistake. I'm like, no, I don't want to connect.
Super
No. So, you know, I don't know what app has that. So
Bumble has super swipe.
yeah. So, I mean, have you ever accidentally swiped when you didn't mean to, and then like it's a match? I'm like, oh man, I gotta unmatch with you because that was an accident.
I've swiped left on people that I was like, oh, whoops, like my finger slipped, but.
Or you're just on a roll where you're consistently swiping left, and no, I didn't.
Or
Oh, gosh, darn it.
it's more like it happened more at the beginning when I was trying to figure out how to swipe because I'm not great with technology. So I swiped. I don't know if I swiped. I don't know. I didn't really care if I swiped left on someone that I wanted to swipe right on. I would be like, oh shit. Oh well.
Well,
guess it wasn't meant to be.
One of them actually has a feature like you could shake your phone and it would go back, and I don't remember what that was. And there's like, I think if you had paid,
no idea.
Yeah, there's another one. If you paid for it, you could
Right.
you could take the redo or something like that.
I think Bumble you can pay for it and go back, and probably Hinge too. I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah, I've never regretted a swipe because you can just block them or move on to the next bunch.
Is that you've never regretted a swipe right, or
Either.
well, I've regretted a swipe left. Maybe, I don't know.
So you have
What, swiped left on
and regretted it?
I
Like
don't-
said
well-
no and regretted it, or been like, oh, I didn't mean to do
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I think.
How'd that feel?
I think she was cute.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, no, what could have been?
Oh, okay, yeah. So then I guess you would have a moment, right? And then I don't know, what did you do anything about it, or you just were like,
Yeah, swiped right on the next one.
yeah, you move on. Or if you really felt like it was that important, then you'd probably pay the money for a month to go back, right? Or some people
I
are on
don't
multiple
know.
apps, so you could look for
That's
another app.
expensive. Well,
I know.
that's probably true.
I would just hope they showed up somewhere else.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah, if you cared about one that you swiped left on, if you cared about their pictures.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What about, how many times have you run across somebody that you know?
A couple times.
Have you ever swiped right on that person just to see?
Always swipe right on them. This is actually a good. I always, if it's a dude that I know that is a friend, I swipe right because I'm like, hey, what's up?
So you've matched with somebody you've known?
Yes.
And it's just to
I
say
think
what's up, it's like,
Yes, or like
that's not like a sign that says, hey, look, we're both interested in each other. I would read into that. Like if I was like,
Right.
I'm going to swipe right because maybe this.
so I do run into that issue. where it's like there's a moment of confusion. I'm like, oh, whoa, I thought we knew this wasn't happening. But that's, I mean, but that's from my perspective. I have no idea what they were thinking, but yeah, I don't know. Why not? You know them. You're friends with them. You're like, hey, what's up? Or like,
I can do that with my phone and text you.
I know.
I don't need to do it on a dating app.
It's more fun to do it on then you also get to see their profile. That's the other thing. You get to see their profile.
Well, you don't have to swipe right for that. You can see you can see their profile just came up. You don't have to match.
Yeah, but to keep it, to look back at it and tell them what I think. I feel like with one of them, I was like, hey, if you ever want some pointers, let me know.
Okay. So now I have to ask, what was wrong with it?
What was wrong with
the profile? That you're like, if you're offering advice, there was obviously something wrong with it.
No, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't.
But you offered advice.
I offered advice on one thing.
Which was what?
You wrote too many words. You're a man. You wrote too many words. Don't do that. You don't have to be like, it doesn't have to be like 3 words, but I was like, there's too much information and you just try it. Just try it and see.
Is there a perfect bio?
No way. Is there a perfect bio?
Well, I mean, in your mind, you're saying that too many words is pull it down. Too many emojis, which we discussed in the last episode.
Right.
Go back and watch that first episode if you haven't yet.
Yes.
So what makes a perfect bio then?
Well, for me, it would be, that's a really hard question. It would be telling me enough about themselves, but not too much so that there's room for us to actually have a conversation. Because the other thing is like, if you write all the things that you want or all the things that you are, then you're just giving the other person has all the information. What are you going to talk about? Unless you have actual banter. But it's like, okay, I don't know. I remember on mine, I wrote like, I'm good at Connect 4 because I thought that was cute and funny. But what I got was they were all making jokes about Connect 4 instead of actually trying to get to know me. It just got old, which is my fault, right? So,
well, is it?
Yeah, when I took it off my profile, it went way better. The conversations went way better. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to school you in Connect 4. Hey, come over, and they go off. We'll have margaritas and do Connect 4 because that's what you said you liked. And I'm like, I don't know.
Do they think it was a foursome?
I didn't get that far. I didn't even think about it. I just never ended up meeting any of those men because we never really talked about anything. It didn't really seem like a draw. They picked what was on my profile and used that to try to get me to come over.
Which makes sense. And by the way, what's in your perfect bio? I want to hear your comments down below. We want to read your comments down below. What you think constitutes a perfect bio? Yeah,
because that's an interesting one. Like what would be a perfect bio for you, or what do you like to see in their bio? It's a hard question.
No, what do I like to see in a bio? Personality. I think some kind of insight into who they might be. Or especially if they're funny. I like humor. Mm-hmm. Hobbies, maybe what they like to do, but not like over inundated with like all. I don't want to find that it just seems like that's all you do. That you're always busy doing something. Right? Like you're super go-getter. Yeah, I mean yoga and traveling and like sports and reading and TV and this is my favorite thing. Yes. It's just I don't know. I don't know what's too much. I don't know what constitutes too much. I guess where it's just overwhelming and I just at least enough to where I can start a conversation with you. Maybe. Yeah. That's That's a really good answer. That's what it's so I get a sense of who you are, but not so much information. Well, that's my question for you as well. That I wanted to bring up while we've been discussing this is like, is this really where we're at right now? 'Cause like, is it really narrowed down to apps? I mean, it's just the most common way.
I know a lot of people doing it, and I know almost everyone I know has been on an app at one point or the other.
Sure, but I mean,
not everyone, but almost everyone.
I think that the organic aspect of dating is just it's destroyed. You know, you just like you can't. There is no catching that person's eye from across the room and you know, and having that connection that you want to go over and talk to them. It's just like you lose so much
in the apps.
Yeah, because like there's no. I mean, there's still inquisition. You can still ask questions, but you find out so much about somebody in that. It's just like the surprise is gone. Maybe.
Yeah. Or it's like an organic feeling, maybe. Like, yeah, in person, like meeting someone in person is different for sure. I think, yeah, we can get into more of that later with like comparing.
oh, definitely. But
how it is now versus how, it's the dating apps have changed dating quite a bit.
So then let me ask you this. If in all of your experience in going through these dating apps, when you've met any of them in person, has it ever been like that? Oh my God! As soon as they walk in the door, like
no, no, never. As soon as they walk in the door, no. I've had some where, it's not
because that's you when you're out and about and you see somebody for the first time that you've never seen before who's just enthralled with and just captivated by.
That hasn't happened to me in a long time.
Sure. But I find that that's completely out the window with an app now. Like you're never going to have that moment, that rush. I mean, am I wrong? Or is it still possible that if you've met, you've matched with somebody and there's like,
the rush of like you see them and you're that excited and overwhelmed by who this person is.
Like they're even better in person.
But
I mean, even still, have you, when you go to meet somebody, are you really just overwhelmed with excitement? Like, oh my God, I cannot wait to meet this person in face to face.
From the apps?
Yes.
Like, okay, like getting a date off the apps? No, I was never like, oh my God, I can't wait to meet this person. The first time meeting them?
Yeah.
Never. Because I'm like this, I don't know what they look like.
Well, you do because the pictures, but
I've never had that feeling.
But that's the sadness that I'm talking about. That it's just depressing to even think about that.
It's very romantic, James. It's a very romantic idea you're talking about.
I'm a romantic kind of guy.
It's. Go on. I have more. Yeah.
No, go for it. That's it. I just. It's a little bit depressing to think that that's. Yeah. Where we've gone to as a society, that you don't have that. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist anymore, that you can't meet somebody out in the world and from and from across the room and be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, it can still happen, but we're reduced to apps to where I think that we minimize those chances now. And they're certainly not going to happen. I'm just curious if they do. How about for you guys? Do you guys have those experiences? Do you get excited about meeting somebody for the first time that you met on an app? Or have you ever been just blown away by their presence once they walk through the door? Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's valid. I don't look for that moment in general.
Anymore, or
no.
You never did in the first place?
What I looked for, I don't know if I didn't look for it in the first place, but I did not expect it. I would look for how I felt after I met them. So I'm not looking for the, like, I see you, wow, like I feel something. I would look for how I felt. I would pay attention to how I felt during the date and then after the date. But I was, and again, I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I was looking for a feeling afterwards, not when I first see them.
And does that feeling afterwards show up, or is it just like, oh, it's worth going out with this person one more time?
It would show up if I was into them. If I was not sure, it would. I don't think it would show up, but they were nice enough, good enough, genuine enough for me to like see if that feeling would come. So I would go on like second or third date, not more than 3 dates. Yeah, that wasn't a rule. That was just what happened. But
sure,
because after 3 dates, if I wasn't feeling it, I would be like, okay, I have to be honest with them.
3 dates, huh? All right.
Yeah, that was
okay.
my.
That's a good amount of time. A good chance to give.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't. It's not that I don't believe in the aha moment. I just, for me, that's not something. That's not a need of mine. It's not like necessary.
Sure.
So I don't miss it. But I know what you're talking about.
Right.
And it is like an exciting, like it's like the love feeling. You're like, oh my God.
Sure. What about for you guys? How many dates do you give before you call it off? 1, 2, 3? I think that's a very important question. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. Don't ghost. I think that's what we've all narrowed it down to, at least.
No, that's not. Ghost whenever you want to.
All right, fine. Ghost whenever you want to. But what you need to do as well is like this video, comment down below, share this video with a friend. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, be sure to leave a 5-star review and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, and email us your horror stories still at mostcompatiblepodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear them.
And even if it's not a horror story, even if you have a good story, we want to hear that too.
Good stories, but I think you got some horror stories. I have a feeling.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your week, and stay tuned for episode 3. Do we know what we're going to talk about?
Not yet, but probably something from this episode. Because, that's how it goes.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. And until next time.
This is Most Compatible.